Malkolm Lətif Şəbaz was born on October 8, 1984 in Paris, France, to an Algerian Muslim father, and Kubila Şəbaz, the second daughter of American Muslim activist Malcolm X and Dr. Berry Şəbaz. When Malcolm was a few months old, he and his family moved to the United States. He had a troubled childhood and experienced tragedy in 1997 when his grandmother was accidentally killed in a fire in which he had sat. Though a child, Malcolm was sent to jail for years for arson, and this started a cycle of him being in and out of jail. He suffered much from the loss of his grandmother, and he was pressured and talked about by many people because of this accident. The last time Malcolm was in prison at Attica in New York, one of the toughest prisons in the United States, he met a Mexican Iranian who introduced him to a new face of Islam. For the first time, he started reading about the Prophet and his family, the Ahl Bayt, and after researching, he ultimately would become a Shia Muslim. Malcolm became a Shia, and after he was released, decided that he wanted to go to Syria and study at the theological school. He lived there for about 8 months. Later, he would go to Hajj. Just as the Hajj pilgrimage was a transition in Malcolm X's life, so was it for Malcolm. The same as his grandfather, Malcolm had exceptional speaking skill and was active speaking at various venues. He feared no one and stood up for the truth. He was constantly a victim of abuse by the judicial system in the United States and was harassed regularly by the police.
I don't believe in the presidency. I believe that the presidency post in the United States is nothing more than a puppet post. And when we see movements like the Occupy movement, where you have the 99% fighting against that 1%, it's not about color. It's about that minority which keeps control of the majority.
That same system realized Malcolm's potential and his threat to the status quo of a hegemonic perspective in the United States. Şəbaz worked on all people coming together against one common enemy. He had the name to do it because of family history, and he had the skill, and then he became a Shia Muslim with a revolutionary ideology. Many suspect that this was too dangerous a combination, as he could have easily attracted many people to Islam in the United States. In January of 2013, he intended to come to an international conference being held in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Prior to his departure to go to Iran, he was arrested and detained for jailwalking. He was locked up for 2 weeks. When Şəbaz was released, he talked to international TV channel Press TV and told them that it was the FBI who had detained him, though they didn't introduce themselves as the FBI.
The FBI has arrested Malcolm X's grandson before his scheduled trip to Iran. Malkolm Şəbaz, a Muslim and a civil rights activist, was reportedly arrested as he was preparing to leave the US. Reports say he's been moved to an unknown location, and the FBI has not provided any information about his arrest. Malkolm Şəbaz was expected to attend the second conference of Hollywood and Zionism in the Iranian capital, Tehran.
4 months later, Malcolm was lured to Mexico, in which he thought that he would be helping Mexican workers stand up for their rights. However, in actuality, it was a trap to get him out of the United States so that the finger for his killing would not be pointed at the US government. On May 9, 2013, he was martyred in Tijuana, Mexico. The character assassination that he had talked about in the past was launched against him, and the media said that he had been drinking and was in a bar and got in a fight because of the beer. The reality was that he was a man who stood for truth and had been targeted by the powers that be because of who he was and because of his potential to be. The United States never initiated an investigation in the case, though he was an American national, and there were petitions by both Americans and Mexicans demanding an investigation into his murder. The person who lured him and left him to die was never questioned by American authorities, and many suspect that he was an agent working on behalf of Washington. Martin Malkolm Şəbaz was beaten to death under suspicious circumstances, and his own government never asked why. Many believe because they knew exactly what had happened.